When disaster strikes and chaos reigns, have you ever wondered what really happens behind the scenes? Surprisingly, many people are left in the dark. In today's video, we're diving deep into the operations of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, known as FEMA, and uncovering the top 10 areas they will target first when things go south. But why does FEMA focus on specific regions during a crisis? Their primary role is to manage disaster responses that exceed the capabilities of local and state emergency services. Think massive hurricanes, devastating earthquakes, or widespread power outages, situations that demand immediate and robust intervention. FEMA's mission is clear: to ensure that everyone impacted receives timely assistance, which often includes the rapid distribution of essential emergency supplies. Now, here's why this information is crucial for you, especially if you identify as a prepper. Keeping your stockpiles of essential supplies discreet and hidden is vital. By safeguarding the existence of your resources, you reduce the likelihood of FEMA targeting them for confiscation. Imagine facing a disaster, only to find your hard-earned supplies taken away when you need them most. It's a harrowing thought. Understanding FEMA's strategic priorities not only empowers you to prepare more effectively, but also keeps your resources secure during uncertain times. So what exactly are these key targets, and what drives FEMA's decision-making? Join us as we delve into the specifics and reveal the areas where FEMA's focus will land first when crisis strikes. Prepare to get informed, because knowing what's coming can make all the difference when the SHTF. Number 10. Retail food chains. You may be wondering, why are these colossal retail food chains a primary target when disaster strikes? It's all about access to crucial resources. These supermarkets are essentially treasure troves, packed with vast storage facilities and comprehensive refrigeration capabilities. In the eye of a disaster, they become invaluable assets. But there's more to the story. As the storm clouds gather, retail food chains face a unique set of challenges. Their accessibility to the public means they can quickly fall prey to panic buying. Imagine this: as news of an impending disaster spreads, shoppers flood into these stores, stocking up on everything from canned goods to bottled water. This frantic rush can rapidly deplete their supplies, leaving shelves bare just when they are most needed. Consequently, these stores may not be the most reliable locations for immediate bulk supplies when FEMA arrives on the scene. Despite this volatility, retail food chains play an indispensable role in the larger emergency response framework. Why do they remain pivotal? Because their widespread presence and robust infrastructure make them essential logistical hubs during the recovery phase. Not only do they distribute food, but they also provide critical support for various emergency operations. The effectiveness of FEMA, alongside local and state agencies, hinges on tapping into the extensive distribution networks of these retail chains. By prioritizing these locations, authorities can ensure that essential supplies are delivered swiftly and efficiently to communities in need. This partnership allows for a more coordinated response, facilitating the movement of resources to areas where they are needed most, ideally before panic buying sends everything flying off the shelves. When the chips are down, retail food chains are equipped to pivot quickly and adapt to the urgent demands of the situation. Their teams are trained to handle crises, managing inventory and logistics while remaining focused on serving their communities. This agility makes them a linchpin in the overall disaster response strategy. Number 9. Emergency supply hubs. Now, these aren't just any random locations. They are pre-designated lifelines that play a pivotal role during the crucial early hours of disaster response. But why are these hubs so vital? Imagine a scenario where disaster strikes. A hurricane roars in, an earthquake shakes the ground beneath us, or a large-scale emergency unfolds. In these terrifying moments, emergency supply hubs spring into action like a well-oiled machine, ready to provide immediate aid to those affected. These hubs are not just stocked with supplies. They are meticulously equipped to serve large populations quickly and efficiently. So, what exactly can you find at these hubs? Picture an array of essential items: nutritious food, clean water, medical supplies, and shelter materials, all readily available and organized for rapid distribution. The mission here is straightforward: to deliver immediate relief to communities in distress, significantly reducing the time before help arrives. One key factor that makes these hubs effective is their strategic placement. They are selected based on accessibility, locations such as warehouses or community centers that can be reached easily by both emergency responders and the public. This allows for fast, streamlined access to life-saving supplies. In times of crisis, every second counts, and having resources just a stone's throw away can make all the difference. Moreover, these hubs aren't just reactive. They play an essential role in proactive disaster preparedness strategies. Before a disaster even strikes, FEMA coordinates with local agencies to ensure these locations are ready to go, stocked up, and primed for action at a moment's notice. Community training and exercises are often conducted to familiarize local citizens with these hubs, fostering a sense of readiness. Number 8. Food distribution centers. When disaster strikes, one of the most vital lifelines for affected communities is the food distribution center. Think of these facilities as the dynamic command hubs of the emergency food supply chain. They play an indispensable role in managing, organizing, and dispatching food supplies to those who need it most, often under immense pressure and time constraints. In an emergency, every moment counts, and food distribution centers are at the heart of that urgency. These centers do more than just stockpile food. They meticulously coordinate the logistics of getting that food to the right places, at precisely the right times, which can be a daunting challenge during a crisis. Imagine a scenario where roads are blocked and communication lines are down. This is where the efficiency of food distribution centers truly shines. FEMA targets these hubs because they embody strategic efficiency, ensuring that resources are mobilized swiftly where they can make the most impact. What sets food distribution centers apart is their adoption of cutting-edge technology. Equipped with sophisticated tracking systems and inventory management tools, these hubs can oversee the flow of food supplies like an orchestra conductor managing a symphony. They coordinate seamlessly with other critical locations, such as transportation hubs, ports, and railways, ensuring the supply chain operates smoothly. This tech-savvy approach means that even amid chaos, the essential flow of food remains uninterrupted. In a world where natural disasters can happen in the blink of an eye, the importance of food distribution centers cannot be overstated. They are the lifeblood of disaster response efforts, offering not just sustenance, but also hope to communities that are grappling with the aftermath of challenging circumstances. When FEMA prioritizes these centers, they're putting logistics into action, emphasizing not just the quantity but the quality and speed of food delivery in crisis situations. So, when you hear discussions about where FEMA will target its efforts first when the proverbial hits the fan, remember that food distribution centers are at the forefront. They represent a critical infrastructure that not only responds to immediate needs, but also embodies the resilience and strength of communities coming together in the face of adversity. Number 7. Grain silos. As we slide into the 7th point on our countdown of critical areas, FEMA will target first when the situation hits the fan. We land on the towering giants of the agricultural landscape, grain silos. These colossal structures are more than just eye-catching features dotting the horizons of rural America. They are vital lifelines that play a pivotal role in disaster response and recovery. So what makes grain silos so essential? Picture this. When a disaster strikes and chaos ensues, securing a reliable food supply becomes an immediate priority. Grain silos are indispensable in this process. They have the capacity to store an enormous volume of grains. Think wheat, corn, rice, and other staples that form the backbone of our emergency food stocks. The longevity and adaptability of these grains make them perfect for times of crisis, as they can be transformed into a multitude of meals that can feed the masses. Now, let's dive deeper into why FEMA places such immense importance on these structures. In times of upheaval, the availability of food options can literally mean the difference between life and death. Grain silos can often hold enough provisions to keep thousands or even millions of people nourished during extended emergency situations. This capability makes them a cornerstone of food security, providing peace of mind not just to individuals, but to entire communities grappling with uncertainty. Moreover, the strategic placement of grain silos amplifies their significance. Typically located in rural settings, these silos are ideally situated to act as distribution hubs, facilitating the movement of essential food supplies not only to nearby towns, but also to urban centers that may be severely affected by disasters. Imagine them as pivotal nodes in a vast logistical network, ensuring that food reaches those who need it most, swiftly and efficiently. FEMA's focus on these structures is rooted in their unique advantages: reliability, availability, and crucially, the ability to mobilize resources quickly. When catastrophe looms, the agency understands that the road to recovery hinges on access to adequate nourishment. It's no wonder that grain silos consistently rank high on their list of priorities in disaster preparedness and response strategies. Number 6. Large food processors. Large food processors, sometimes feeling underappreciated, actually play a pivotal role during emergencies. And here's why they stand out as true MVPs in disaster response. Imagine this. When a disaster hits, time is of the essence, and large food processors are primed for action. These facilities have the astounding ability to produce and package enormous quantities of food in no time at all. We're not just talking about your everyday meals here. We're talking about essential, durable, and non-perishable foods that can sustain individuals and families during dire situations. So why does FEMA turn its keen eye towards these food giants? The answer revolves around their incredible production capacity and rapid response capabilities. In the wake of a disaster, the demand for accessible food sources skyrockets, and large processors can quickly mobilize their operations to ensure that these crucial supplies reach those in need. Beyond just their production capabilities, these facilities boast established networks that streamline logistics. This means that once they ramp up operations, food can be distributed efficiently and effectively to affected areas. Picture trucks rolling out, loaded with tons of food ready to serve communities that may have been cut off from their regular supply chains. This simply cannot be overstated. The strategic importance of large food processors positions them at the forefront of FEMA's disaster response efforts. Moreover, the sheer scale at which these facilities operate means that they can guarantee enough food supply to prevent shortages during critically challenging times. The security of having food production be centralized in these facilities can make or break an emergency response. During crises, it's all about speed and reliability, and large food processors offer both in abundance. Number 5. Community emergency response locations. When disaster strikes, one of the key areas FEMA will undoubtedly focus on is community emergency response locations. These aren't merely random spots scattered around town. We're talking about essential hubs like community centers and schools that take on critical roles during a crisis. Imagine your local gym or library transforming into a lifeline for your neighborhood, a place where you can not only get information but also receive much-needed supplies. Why are these locations so vital? Their strength lies in their integration within the community. They are familiar spaces that residents know and trust, which makes them accessible during turbulent times. In the chaos of a disaster, comfort and familiarity can be life-saving. Community emergency response locations serve as centralized points where people can come together to receive aid and connect with others facing similar challenges. This is incredibly important when larger supply chains are disrupted or slow to mobilize. Now, here's the kicker. While these locations play a crucial role in local emergency efforts, they aren't always at the top of FEMA's priority list when it comes to resource allocation. Why? Because their impact tends to be more localized. Unlike larger facilities that can handle massive quantities of supplies and cater to broader areas, community emergency response locations often focus on the immediate needs of their surrounding populations. They provide essential services but don't necessarily fit into the larger logistical framework that FEMA may prioritize during disasters. However, this does not diminish the value they bring to a community in times of crisis. Their significance lies not just in the supplies they distribute, but also in the comfort and sense of community they foster. They create a safe space for people to gather, share stories, and support one another amidst uncertainty. This sense of solidarity can be incredibly powerful when facing hardships together. Number 4. Canned goods factories. When disaster strikes, we often find ourselves scrambling for supplies. And one of the most critical resources during such times can be found in something as humble as a canned good. Canned goods factories play a pivotal role in disaster preparedness, transforming non-perishable foods into a lifeline for communities in need. Imagine the variety contained in those shiny cans. Everything from nutritious vegetables to hearty meats and protein-packed beans. These items are the foundation of any emergency kit and represent an essential component of long-term disaster supplies. The importance of canned goods in times of crisis cannot be understated. For starters, their durability is unmatched. Storing canned goods is a straightforward process. They can last for years without the risk of spoilage, making them a reliable option when the unexpected occurs. This long shelf life means that stocked supplies can be ready whenever a disaster hits, ensuring that individuals and families have access to food that won't go bad when they need it most. Moreover, the agility of canned goods and distribution cannot be overlooked. Whether responding to a local crisis or addressing a nationwide emergency, these compact and shelf-stable foods can be transported swiftly to affected areas. As disasters loom, these factories gear up production to meet the urgent demand. Their ability to ramp up output ensures that there's always enough supply on hand, ready to be dispatched when communities need it most. Agencies such as FEMA heavily rely on these factories' capabilities to foresee and address food shortages during emergencies. The logistics involved in managing these operations are not only crucial but also incredibly intricate. It involves everything from sourcing quality raw materials to meticulously managing supply chains, all fine-tuned to handle increased demands when a crisis arises. Picture this. A community impacted by a natural disaster receives an emergency shipment of canned goods, providing immediate sustenance for families. This is often made possible through the swift action of canned goods factories, who have been preparing to meet these needs well in advance. With their efficient production and distribution capabilities, they can deliver essential food supplies, helping to alleviate the struggles that arise during difficult times. So, when we think about the resilience of our food supply chain during disasters, we cannot forget about the unsung heroes of canned goods factories. They are not just manufacturers, they are crucial partners in disaster response, ensuring that with every can, hope arrives along with sustenance. Keep this in mind the next time you stock up your pantry, and appreciate the importance of these factories. It's not just about convenience, it's about community survival. Number 3, transportation hubs. When a disaster strikes and chaos ensues, it's the transportation hubs. Our mighty airports, bustling ports, and busy railway stations that play a pivotal role in the response efforts. These essential facilities become the nerve centers for logistics, orchestrating the movement of massive quantities of goods with incredible speed and efficiency. Imagine a scenario where a hurricane has slammed into a coastal city. Every second counts as communities desperately await crucial supplies. Airports become lifelines, transforming into bustling beacons of hope as planes loaded with emergency cargo from around the world land to deliver food, medical supplies, and other necessities. The air cargo operations ramp up, operating around the clock to ensure that aid reaches those affected as swiftly as possible. Likewise, ports spring into action, unloading ships that carry vast amounts of supplies, from bottled water to disaster kits that can sustain individuals in the wake of devastation. And let's not forget about the railways. These iron arteries stretch deep into the heart of the mainland, allowing goods to be transported from coastal ports to remote areas that may be cut off from other forms of supply. Think of the coordination required. Trains filled with humanitarian aid rolling into towns that are scrambling to meet overwhelming needs. Moreover, the strategic importance of these transportation hubs cannot be overstated. They are not merely transit points, they are meticulously prepared for scenarios of national emergency. Many hubs have established protocols specifically designed for disaster response, meaning they can seamlessly shift from everyday operations to urgent crisis management in the blink of an eye. This readiness transforms them into the backbone of national and international relief efforts, capable of mobilizing resources swiftly when every moment is critical. 2. Regional distribution centers. These aren't just ordinary supply points. They are the powerhouses of resource management during large-scale crises. So why are regional distribution centers so critical in emergency situations? For starters, their strategic placement across various regions plays a significant role in ensuring the rapid and efficient movement of supplies where they are needed the most. Imagine the chaos of a widespread disaster, fires burning, floods rising, and communities in distress. In this turmoil, these centers are like lifelines, acting as the central hubs of the emergency supply network. These distribution hubs are equipped to handle a wide array of essentials, from life-saving medical supplies to clean drinking water and non-perishable food items. Their ability to quickly dispatch these necessities to the heart of impacted zones can make a world of difference when time is of the essence. But what sets FEMA apart in how they utilize these centers? It's all about capacity and reach. These hubs are specially designed to manage immense quantities of supplies and can distribute them over extensive areas. When facing disasters that span large regions like hurricanes or wildfires, this capability becomes vital. The last thing you want in a crisis is a bottleneck in the supply chain. Furthermore, the infrastructure of these centers often includes advanced logistics systems, inventory management, and transport facilities, ensuring the highest levels of efficiency. This means that not only can they receive shipments quickly, but they can also process and redistribute supplies just as rapidly. FEMA strategically targets these centers because they serve as the beating heart of disaster relief efforts. Their pivotal role ensures that not only are supplies available, but they are also delivered swiftly and effectively to those in dire need. With disaster response being a race against time, having these regional powerhouses in place can mean the difference between chaos and a well-coordinated recovery effort. 1. Wholesalers and warehouses. Let's talk about wholesalers and warehouses, true heavy hitters in the realm of disaster logistics. Why are these facilities at the top of FEMA's list? It's simple. They play a crucial role in ensuring that vital supplies are available and ready to mobilize at a moment's notice. Imagine an enormous storage space brimming with tons of food and essential goods, all strategically organized for rapid deployment. This isn't just about having a massive quantity of supplies stashed in one location. It's all about speed and efficiency when disaster hits. When communities are facing emergencies, every second counts. Wholesalers and warehouses enable the swift organization and delivery of essential items like food, water, and medical supplies directly into the hands of those in need. At a time when panic and chaos may ensue, the speed with which these facilities operate can mean the difference between life and death for thousands. Whether it's a natural disaster, a pandemic, or a man-made emergency, wholesalers and warehouses are expertly designed to handle large-scale distributions swiftly. Think of it as an assembly line for urgent humanitarian aid, where truckloads of supplies can be dispatched within hours after a disaster is declared. But there's more to the story. The strategic positioning of these facilities is key to their effectiveness. They're not randomly located. Instead, they're placed thoughtfully to facilitate rapid transportation. This means they are generally situated near major highways, railway lines, and even airports, allowing for flexible distribution routes that can adapt to the varied logistics of any situation. In essence, these hubs act as the backbone of the emergency response system. They orchestrate the complex supply chain ballet that ensures everything, from canned goods to bottled water, gets to where it's needed most. When FEMA mobilizes its resources, you can bet that wholesalers and warehouses will be the first points of contact. This proactive approach in disaster management allows organizations to focus on immediate relief efforts, ultimately saving lives during critical times. So as we explore the critical infrastructures FEMA targets first, remember that wholesalers and warehouses are not just about storage. They're the dynamic lifeline that supports communities in times of crisis, ensuring that help is on the way before you even realize it's needed. Stay tuned for the next point as we delve deeper into the locations that play a vital role when SHTF. In conclusion, understanding the top 10 areas FEMA targets first during a disaster response offers invaluable insight into the strategic mechanisms that ensure swift aid delivery to affected communities. By recognizing the significance of wholesalers, warehouses, and other vital infrastructures, we can appreciate the complexity of emergency management and the integral roles these sites play in saving lives. What are your thoughts on FEMA's strategies? Have you ever seen their response efforts in action? We would love to hear your experiences, so leave a comment below. If you found this information helpful, please like the video. And subscribe to our channel for more content that keeps you informed and prepared for emergencies.